Hello and welcome to another episode of the Path of the Special One. As you can see from my last video, I've just played a match, and I also played a friendly after that, and I did some of the stretching, cardio and practice match training regimes for my players. And as you can see, through all of this training, not only are all my players exhausted from all of the exercise, but also I've gained a huge amount of skill progression points. So this is not usual because I've accrued them over about 2 days, but I've got 59 points here. So after each match, you're usually going to have about 10 points to spend. But because I've trained my players so intensively, I've actually managed to accrue around 60 points. So I'm just going to show you how to assign these points and what the different points on different attributes can give your players. So I'm just going to work through from top to bottom. So if I go on my first player, Hill, who's a midfield left. In this position, you need to be able to cross the ball in. You need to be fast. So and you also need to be able to, because he's a midfielder, tackle as well. So I'm going to put 2 points because he's got 5 points, 6 points to spend. I'm going to put 2 points on attack, which goes on shooting and finishing. These auto assign once you click on attack. You can also auto-assign for all the points, but I think it's with the young players especially, it's best to assign them in the manner that you wish to spend them on. But 2 points on physical, which will go on speed, so good for midfielder left, like a winger type player, and aggression. I'm going to put a point onto defence and another point onto defence as well, so he gets better at tackling. As you can see here, his value is currently 550,000. And if I do this, because I put 6 points on, his value might actually increase. If we go back to Hill here, yes, it's increased slightly, but not significantly. So now if you go to Ramshaw, he's my midfield centre. Also 6 points to spend. He's also very young. So 2 points on attacking again, which is dribbling and crossing. 2 points on physical here, and 2 points on defensive, because I want my midfielders to be able to get back and tackle as well, and so they getting good at marking as well. So increase that. If I sort by age here as well, the younger players are the players that I'm more concerned about. So for my goalies, these 2 players here, I'm gonna because if you auto assign your points, unfortunately, especially with the goalies, they can go on attributes like attacking, which, although passing is important for all players, for goalies, the defensive stats are obviously much more important. So I'm going to put 4 points onto defensive stats, which go across the board, but especially for goalies on handling, which is very important. And then I'm going to put a point on physical, so score on aggression, which obviously for a goalie is quite good, so you can get jump up and punch out the ball and just kind of get involved in the penalty area. Same with the other goalkeeper here. Pavlos. 4 on the goalie stats, the defensive stats, and 1 on the physical. Speed, always important for one-on-ones coming out. So those goalies are improving very fast now. Hubbock's also a very young player, AMC this time, so attacking central midfielder. So he's got 4 points to spend. I'm going to put 3 of them on attacking because he's an AMC, so they're very important. He goes on crossing, shooting and passing, and because he's a corner specialist, crossing is also very important for this player, because the higher the crossing, the better the use of this corner specialist attribute will be. And I'm also going to put a point on to strength, which will increase his kind of ability to hold onto the ball, because you can muscle off players. This defender's been playing very well at the moment. Defensive right and defensive centre, also very advantageous because he can play both in the centre and the right. I mainly play with 3 CDMs, so he's going to probably be in my squad for a long time now because he's 21. He's not rated very highly at the moment, but he's improving very fast. So I'm going to put 3 points on defensive stats. You see marking and positioning's gone up as well. 1 on attacking. Obviously it's gone on finishing, but eventually they'll go on to kind of passing and dribbling and increase those stats as well. Then 1 on physical, which is creativity. Obviously not ideal for a defender. Still helps with all-round player, but for a defender you want kind of strength, aggression and speed. They're the best physical attributes. Passing you want as well, but mainly the tackling, marking, positioning and heading are the most important for a defender. So everyone's in my squad's going out very fast at the moment. A lot of midfielders, as I said. I'm going to go to my striker now, who's the new striker who scored in the last match. So he's got 3 points to spend. I'm going to put 2 of them on attacking, which is excellent in this case because he's got on dribbling and finishing. Again, they're randomly assigned, but they're perfect for a striker. And I'm going to put 1 on, he's got on aggression, again, jumping up, heading the ball in the box, always a bonus for that. And if you take you to another player, say for example Navas, it can be any of these players, because with each of the players, another thing you can do with these skill points is change their role and give them an extra role. So if I click on that, you can see it takes you to a new screen where currently he's a central midfielder, and so you can train them, or they recommend you to train them in positions related to that original position. So I can train in midfield left, midfield right, AMC and DMC. At the moment I just want to get him up in quality, so I'm not going to put points onto this, but it actually takes 50 skill points to learn a new position. So you can have players that have several different positions they can play in naturally, and I've got players that can play in several positions. Another thing you can spend the skill points on is the to learn a specialist ability, and different players on the pitch can learn different abilities. So a keeper can learn one-on-one stopper and also penalty stopper, and defenders can learn kind of stats that help defending, such as defensive wall and other things like that. And then the strikers and midfielders can learn penalty specialist, free kick specialist, dribbler. You can also learn playmaker. So if I go playmaker, corner specialist as well. So these are kind of the attacking attributes that you can learn, but again they take a lot of skill points, between 40 and 50. I really want a playmaker eventually, so I'll either try and buy one, or I will eventually try and train up a player into a playmaker position. So again, midfielder, I want to increase him slightly in these attributes, the kind of defensive minded ones, tackling and marking, because I've got a lot of aggressive attacking minded midfielders, but it's nice to get some defensive ones as well. So if I go to Eddie, same again with Eddie, heading, marking, and I'll put 1 on physical as well, so it's got on speed, which is always good for a midfielder. And Leggett, defensive midfielder again. You've got to balance them out a bit here. Balance them out a bit. Sorry about that. That's my phone. Balance them out a bit here because being a defensive midfielder, you want to have defensive stats, but you also want to have attacking stats. So I'll put them on a range of both. So I won't show them all. I'll auto assign the rest because the rest of the players are reasonably old, and the computer does assign them in the right order to an extent, but if you want to tailor make your players, you need to assign them kind of as on the points that you want to. And this is especially important when you're training a special ability or a new position. So I'm now going to auto assign the rest of my 16 points. Just confirms that I want to do that. And then, oh, okay, brilliant. My new goalie that I got about 4 days ago has now gone up to 4 stars, so that means he's now rated average of 15 points across the board. So he's just gone up, and he's gone up in value as well. I bought him when he was 3 stars, so my kind of transfer market ideas at the moment is to buy players who are just on the top point of say 3 stars or 4 stars, train them up to the next star level, which is usually 15 or 20, and then sell them. And once they're 4 stars or 5 stars, their value goes up significantly, and other players want to pay more for them. So 3-star player you don't really spend much money on, but for a 4-star or 5-star you can spend up to say 500,000 kind of currency. So that's the end of this video. I hope that kind of gives you an idea of how you can train your players in different ways and become specialists in different positions.